Hey folks, welcome back to another video. You join me and the boy who is trotting along the path just up there, sniffing the sniffs, walking into a different spot to normal actually, up near Llandillas on the coast. Not a bad day. There's a bit of drizzly stuff around every now and then. It was raining at home, so I thought coming this way would be a safer option. Today's video, sort of a couple of parts to it. I'm going to have a look at a route just on my own, on self-belaying on a top rope kind of thing, fixed line. I can have a look at a route called, I think it's called Katie's Delight, an E7. I've never climbed E7, and I won't be doing it today. I'm just having a play on it, but I'm not even sure if I'll ever have another go on it. But it's supposed to be 7C plus climbing, and it interests me to see where I can take my sort of sport climbing grade and where I can kind of put that into a trad route, because I'd like to head point something. So it'll be partly about that. I've run through the setup, which is super basic. I'm no expert on the solo stuff. A chat about that, but also reviewing the Blue Ice Cuesta harness that I've had for a little bit now. I've used it on trad and sport, and I've given it a fair going over. So I will I'll get to the crag, find where the route is, because I have climbed here before but not been on this route or anything, so I'm not quite sure where it is. I can't even remember where the descent is actually. I'm somewhere above the cliff now. We'll find it, and then I'll run through that and compare it to another harness that I've got as well, which I think is probably its main competitor. So you'll join me in a minute. The sun's coming out, great. So I've just rigged up a fixed line off this tree here, going down off the edge. What I did first off is I rigged it off the tree over there, which you may about see behind the boy, just so I could get close to the edge. A lot of us wear these kind of shoes, the approach shoe type things, and they're just like death on a stick on the bottom on this grass. It's been a little bit drizzly this morning, so I didn't want to be on the edge cutting around with no grip, so rigged it there just to check where the route was. I'd already been down to the bottom to have a little look, and I'd left a marker down the way. I didn't leave a marker on this one. I just picked a tree that was really obvious. If you haven't got anything obvious like a tree, just leave a rucksack down there or something to help you find it. Otherwise you get to the top, it's like, oh crikey, I don't know where the route is. So I did that first, rigged that up, and now I'm ready to ab down it. And I'll probably take my GoPro with me and have a little chat when I'm down there, and then we'll review the harness in a bit.
Blue dew, blue moon.
Just on my way down the route, I've come across the bolt here, which I knew was here, but what I've done, I've just sort of what I call re-belayed the rope onto it, so it helps take the stretch out of the rope when I'm bouncing up and down, because I forgot to put a long enough static, so I am on a dynamic, so it takes some of the stretch out. And also the route is just gently overhanging, so if I come off and hadn't done that, got rope going over edges, not keen on that, and I just swing out from the rock face and might not be able to get back on either. So I've done that here. There's another peg there, I'll probably skip that one. There's another one lower down, I'll probably do the same to that as well. I've just wrapped the rope around my leg, even though I'm on a gree-gree, as you can see. It's a slightly older gree-gree, and I'm not sure if it'll do it now, but if I kick that off, really quick way of backing up, it's like a prusik really. It's not doing it now, but when I was higher up, the gree-gree was just slipping just a little bit, enough to make me a bit nervous when I'm dangling around up in the air. So the wraps were just to back that up while I'd stopped.
Your coyote song on a rerun.
Well, there you go, I've made it safely down to the bottom. The only thing I'll do differently going up and climbing it in a minute is I'll still use the gree-gree. I'll just back it up every now and again. There's other videos out there with different top rope setups for when you're soloing stuff to work a route or whatever. Dave McLeod's done a good one. He uses a shunt. No system is perfect, so a lot of judgment involved, so I'll let you do some further research into that side of things. Today's video is very kindly sponsored by Y Food. I've been using this for a little while now. I'm a big fan. I make mine using the powder. I add milk to mine because it gives me some extra calories. So when I've used milk to make it, it gives me 550 calories. It's not like a protein shake, it is a proper meal, so it's balanced macros and things, and it keeps me full for like 3, 4, 5 hours. Still super convenient, but like more healthy than just being lazy like I would be and getting a meal deal and stuff. I'm not a big fan of sort of food and things. I eat because I have to eat for fuel, so using something like Y Food is just an absolute gift to me. It tastes flipping good as well, actually. Like, genuinely tastes like a proper milkshake. Loads of flavours. I think I got vanilla today, but if I went into Macca's on the way home and got served that when I ordered a milkshake, I'd be well happy. Big fan. There's a discount code below. It'll flash up as well. It's in the description, etc. So click on there, check it out. Well worth it if, like me, you want nice healthy food with no added sugar and stuff like that, but a proper lazy like I am. So check out the links below. The main point of this video, though, other than having a go at this cool route, was to sort of talk about the Blue Ice Cuesta harness that I've been using for a little bit now. Now I'll come on to that in a second. The harness I've been using for the best part of a year now, which was kindly given to me by Outside, as they support the channel. I've really enjoyed using this Black Diamond Zone. Just over 300 grams, like a fraction over 300 grams, so it's pretty light. It's comfy, it's worn really well, like you'd hardly see any wear other than a bit of dirt on it and stuff. 4 gear loops with a 5th at the back. I really like a 5th gear loop. The magic belay loop, I think they call it. Either Blue Ice call it that or Black Diamond call it, I can't remember which. But it's got no stitching on it. So you know that annoying thing when you're belaying and you all get a shock because something clicks over that. It sounds like a real minor thing, but actually it's a really nice thing to have on a harness. I definitely would genuinely seek it out if I was buying a harness now. So comfy, works well. The ABS buckles, like most of them have these days. Couple of clipper loops if you're into your winter stuff. Not that I am, as most of you all know. The 5th gear loop is kind of needed on this harness because the main gear loops, they're pretty much on the small side. So it works as a trad harness. I have used it as a trad harness, but you do have to put a few things on the back. I do, I climb up to sort of lowy grades normally when I'm trad climbing. I just like to have a nice time trad climbing. But I do carry a pretty full rack because I'm of a nervous disposition. So the 5th one is good for the prussics and a few other bits and pieces. Been using it and I like it, and I think the retail is about £85, which is pretty much the same as the Blue Ice Cuesta. Now I haven't had this one as long, but it's my go-to harness now. Again, Blue Ice have given this to us via Beyond Hope, who support the channel. It's really similar. It's got this magic belay loop. There is a little bit of sort of stitching you can see on it, but it's not enough to catch the carabiner, so it's not quite as seamless as the Black Diamond one, but to all intents and purposes it works just the same. Still the ABS buckle. Gear loops, one is a fraction bigger, the more front one, and that's stiffened. The one at the back is kind of similar to the Black Diamond ones, and it's not stiffened. The reason being, if you're wearing a rucksack, sometimes that kind of gets covered, so it's to fold flat against your body really. One thing I do like about it, there's lots of things I like about it. One thing I like particularly is, again, this sounds pretty silly, but it's the elastic at the back, which I'm not sure how long it'll last because it is just elastic, but they all are to a point just elastic. These ones are just I guess I'm more used to using. But the nice thing about this one is you can replace them, and especially in this day and age when we're all rightly concerned about making kit last longer and being more sustainable and stuff like that. I love the idea that you can replace these because these are often the first things to go, and if you can't replace it, you either have to bodge it, which isn't great, or you sack it off. This one you can just replace them, so I really like that. It hasn't got a 5th gear loop. It's got one little tag, so you could put a crab through that for maybe a trainers or something like that, but you haven't got that 5th gear loop. But the payoff is these front ones are a bit bigger than on the Black Diamond one. It is a fraction lighter. It's just under 300 grams, but I just kind of don't notice that kind of thing. I've been using this for sort of a mix of sport and trad actually. I've been taking some whippers on it down at Anstey's Cove down in Devon on an 8A project I've got there. Hopefully it'll go next time. And I think the biggest compliment I can pay a harness really is I just don't notice I'm wearing it. Even when I'm falling, there's no like pinch points or anything like that. And that's exactly what I want. I can't say how well it'll last yet, but like I said, we can at least replace those. But I've no reason to think it won't last, in a similar nature to this kind of the Black Diamond one. Hasn't got any clipper loops, not a problem to me, but worth being aware of. I think it's just a general all-rounder, so I'm going to use this for trad and sport, and see how I get on the long term, and maybe I'll do a review in a year's time or something like that. But it's been working well for me so far, and I shall be using it again today. Right, well I'm going to get on and do some climbing. It's a bit sunny, so it might have dried off the little bit of sort of greasiness that was on the rock, but hopefully it won't be too hot. I'll probably put a bit of footage, and I'll probably have a very quick chat about the route at the end of this video. So watch me flailing around on an E7 that I have got no right to be trying really, but I'll give it a good go.
Talking bullshit. It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Blue too. That blue. Sort of witty and jaded, but let's not talk about you. Your coyote song on a rerun. Are you hound dog tired singing all night long? Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Not
Oh, well, there you go. I've had my play on Katie's Delight E7. Some of the moves done, most of them probably, but not all of them. I went a bit off route on some bits for sure. I'd need to come back with a sort of a better, clearer picture of the route really, which is easier now I've been on it once. It's 40 metres I think, or thereabouts, so there's a lot of climbing on that. It's quite fairly intimidating actually when you're dangling around. I do quite a lot of that for work, you know, and coaching and stuff, but when I'm doing that at work, I'm familiar with the routes, I know them really well, and you know, familiar with the gear, and the gear's really solid. Some bits I was dangling on were fine, but they weren't quite the sort of 5 out of 5 sinker that I'm used to in a work sense. So yeah, I don't mind admitting it was quite intimidating floating around on that, yarding through on the gree-gree. That's why you'll see in other videos people using a shunt and a chest rig and stuff, so it flows through more easily. Part of me, I kind of like the gree-gree because, you know, it is a belay device, used in the wrong way there obviously, but part of it is if I'm going to stand any chance on the route, I kind of need to be able to place gear and stuff like that, so I kind of feel like hoofing through on the gree-gree gives me an idea of that kind of thing. I would like to come back and put another bit of effort into that route, but I'd probably do it with a friend actually and get them to give me a proper top rope on it to make life a bit easier, because yeah, there's a lot going on that route. 40 metres of climbing, 40 metres of intimidation. Well, yeah, complex route just because there's a lot of climbing. I don't know if I'll ever get stuck into it properly. I feel like I probably, I mean, this is obvious, but I need to do more routes, you know, in that E4, E5, E6 range really. But I just wanted to see how the sport kind of climbing translates into trad, and as I know already, it's a completely different deal, isn't it? There's so much more to think about. The lower half, steady away, a couple of pegs, bolt, and the climbing's pretty easy really. After that, it gets a lot more tricky climbing wise and protection wise. So probably that, I mean, that's a lot more of a route than I've ever done before. So yeah, probably not, but you never know. I'll have a play again. Harness, as expected, super comfy when dangling around. Knew that would be the case, but I hope it's been interesting. I won't have got footage of all the climbing, especially the middle bit. It was too much of a faff really, but hopefully you got bits and pieces of it, give you a bit of a flavour of the route. Yeah, worth checking out this crag if you're over this way. There's a few access issues, so look at the BMC Regional Access Database for the up-to-date info on those bits and pieces. But do fire away any questions. As always, happy to answer as best I can. Don't bother asking me how to climb E7 though. no, I haven't done it yet. Thanks very much for watching. As always, find us on Insta, Facebook, you know the score, all that kind of stuff. Buy me a coffee link. Any support massively appreciated. It keeps the channel going. But thanks very much for watching. More videos coming up very soon.
To see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you